Hi, my name is Roy Canterbury. I'm going to be your host today on Archery Talk 101. We have a special guest with us. We're going to talk archery, and we're both have gray hairs, so we've been doing this for a while.
Yes,
Welcome,
sir.
welcome to the show. And how about if you introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are?
Okay. I am Spanky Brooks. I'm 68 years old. I've been shooting archery since 1980 because I killed my first deer with archery equipment in 80. Um, and I love to shoot archery. I travel across country doing it. So,
Lot of fun. I
yes, it
started
is.
I started with my first bow in the 60s. So
Okay.
I'm just a year older than you. I'm 69.
Okay.
So So we got the gray hairs here. Well, my mustache and beard are gray, but my hair, as you can probably see, what I have here is it's getting kind of thin, but it's still brown.
I don't have much on top, and I did have a longer mustache, but when I shot nationals, it was so long my bowstring was catching it, so I had to twist it up and then put a bread tie on it and curl it under my throat so my
Oh,
bowstring would. So so I trimmed it up after nationals.
yeah, that's no fun if you have it all of a sudden catch one of the hairs on your mustache and rip them out. That don't
Oh
feel too
yes.
good. So what got you started in archery?
Um, I don't know. Um, I've always been intrigued with it, and growing up, I had the old PS or Ben Pearson fiberglass bow that I
Yeah,
would play with, and then I'd seen a deal. Walmart had a sale on the old Bear Whitetail II compound,
right.
and I bought one of them, and that started it. So I mean, I shoot pretty good with it. I ended up killing, I don't know, 7 or 8 deer with the old Bear Whitetail II bows. So,
Well, we
and then,
kind of started about the same. I started with Ben Pearson 25-pound recurve. Mine was kind of a yellow color. And then my
yeah,
brother bought the Whitetail 2, so that's the first compound I shot for a while.
right, yep,
Yeah, that was days when there wasn't much there because the compounds didn't even really start until the 70s before they even really
yeah,
started coming out. And then from what they started off with to what they're doing now, that's amazing how much they've improved
yes,
the performance and shootability and everything else on them.
yeah.
So tell us about that first hunt where you got to kill your first deer.
Um, well, it was matter of fact, my first one I killed was a record book. It was 11 point, scored 138 and 3/8 inches. Um, but it was the worst shot. Um, I'd been, I was running late that morning, and so I didn't even really have a place to hunt. I found an evergreen, and I backed into it, but it was so cold and frosty that the ground was frosted. It looked like snow because you could see my footprint. And I mean, I was so green at this time. I took a thermos with hot chocolate in it. I was gonna have that while I was out there. And anyway, I had to step forward to look out, and I spotted the buck coming. And when he came in, I had turned right in front of a smaller evergreen, and he stopped with his body behind the evergreen and was sniffing my track. And I was full draw, and I thought, man, take a step. Well, when he did, I shot, and I thought, oh my God, that was a bad hit. I hit him right in front of the back leg and a little high. And of course, I almost wanted the ball because I knew I just wounded one.
Yeah.
And through my head, I thought, okay, I seen blood. So, yeah, I'll go trailing. What I ended up doing was I took the artery under the backbone, and I also took the artery out in the opposite leg. He only ran 50 yards, and
Oh,
I mean, there was splattered everywhere. So, and that was my first year with a bow, and he was huge, and I had to load him in the back of my truck by myself. So I
oh
lowered
no.
the tailgate and I stuck his horns in the tailgate. And then I got up in the truck and then hooked my feet, grabbed his horns, and I pulled him up over the top of me. And he was so big, I had an old GMC pickup, 8-foot bed, and getting his head wedged up in the corner, I had to slam his butt with the tailgate. He was
Oh,
over long hanging in the barn. So yeah, he was huge.
yeah,
So
that's
that was my
that's huge. Yeah. Oh, what a first year, huh?
yes, yep,
Yeah, mine wasn't quite so big. Mine was doe. I shot quite a few does before I ever shot a buck, and I go out
right.
hunt for does, but buck comes by, I'll take them as long as I got tag for
That's right. Yeah. Well, I had wounded two does earlier. One was in the lower front leg, and then one was in the shoulder blade. So when I hit this one that far back, I thought, "Oh my God!" Now I just wounded the third deer. But it when it takes the arteries out, they don't go very far.
No, no, I actually that's story for different time, but I actually got one that way too. It got in the back artery and got it, and it didn't go very far.
Nope, they don't.
Not the spot I'm want to shoot for, but that's a different story on how I ended
That's
up
right.
getting that.
It worked.
Yeah, it works, but not how you want to do it because it's a little bit lower percentage. But hey, sometimes when we're starting out, we get what we get. You practice all you
That's
can, and things still go wrong.
yep, exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Oh, yeah, I'm trying to see if I can um, monitor the live. We went live in my timeline, and I'm just trying to figure out how to monitor if anybody makes any comments. I never done it before,
Okay.
so I'll figure out. So if I'm looking off the side, I'm trying to see if there's any comments coming through, and there was one. Oh, uh, and then I have to listen to myself talk. So no comments. So we're okay. So if I see any comments, I'll kind of pass them on. Who knows? But
Okay.
we'll go from there. So what kind of equipment you shooting now? You shooting traditional or are you shooting
I'm
compounds?
shooting classified as bare bow. I have
Okay.
a 9-inch CD riser with Euclid limbs. Um, I'm pulling 38, 40 pounds, shooting victory arrows and Yotes tab. So it the setup I have been working very well. So
Yeah, that's the key is get something that works for you that fits you and you like and it likes the way you shoot and
right, yep. Well, I shot compound for 20 years when I first started, and then I got invited to a traditional shoot and had to borrow a bow, and I ended up winning the tournament. and I've never looked back for a compound because the challenge was there.
Right.
I was shooting almost bullet holes at out to 30 yards with compound, and then when I shot traditional, it went to the size of a basketball, and I
Yeah.
thought, oh man, yeah, here's a challenge. Um, so that I've been shooting traditional 25 years now. So, and then barebow, I think it's only been about 5 years.
Yeah, that's kind of a theme I hear quite a bit where, you start with the archery with the compound, or sometimes you start with the longbow or recurve and go to the compound, and then after a while, like you said, it's not really a whole lot of challenge because at 20 yards you're sticking them all in the X ring, and then you go out to 30 and you're still in there, and you're still in the white spot, clear out to 30 and 40 yards, and then what's the next challenge? Go into a recurve because there's especially if you're not using any sights. The Olympics they
Right.
use sights on them, but I'm not interested in Olympic style archery. For me to do it, I like watching it. It's kind of cool how how they're doing all that, and watching some of their form and their release techniques, and a lot of it you can take that and adapt it to any traditional bow.
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
I just anchor in a different spot.
Yes. Yep.
They anchor so low down underneath their chin. I anchor, index finger corner of my mouth, and that just gives me a little better reference than, you know, down here for me is. But they use a clicker, so they know they're at full draw when the clicker goes off. So it's kind of
That,
interesting. As soon as the clicker goes off, they're releasing. That's that tight click gone. It's like
uh-huh.
it's like that's their
And
trigger to fire.
yes. And see, in barebow, we're not allowed that. So it's got to be. I mean, they come out with clickers that can go on in your hand on the riser and stuff, but I do not have anything that tells me to let go. My brain tells me,
Right.
So
One less piece of equipment to fail.
that's right. Yes,
Yeah, we fail up here in the head enough without having another piece to to fail on us. So do you do a lot of hunting with your equipment now, or mostly just target?
not that particular setup, but I have a 25-inch CD with win-win limbs on it. Um, when they're cranked down, I'm pulling 45 pounds, and that's what I hunt with. It The rest and the plunger are the same as my target, um, but a little shorter bow, more powerful. Now, here in Kansas, we can buy more than one deer tag. And a few years ago, before I got into the bear bow side, I shot wooden bows that I had made. John Holzenrichter here in Wichita, Kansas, built bows, and I own 9 of them now, something like that. And so what I would do is when I'd kill deer, I would put that wood bow down, pick up a different one, practice it, kill deer with it, put it down, and maybe go to a long bow and kill one, put that one down, and I pick up a self bow and shoot a deer with it. So um, yeah, I mean I can use a wood bow or I can use my metal risers. It don't really make a difference.
That makes it, that's because then you can grab any bow, and no matter which one you have, you're proficient with it to, that you can hit the target you're aiming at.
That's right. Yes.
We don't like too many more wounded deers, do we? You,
No, sir.
you get a couple of them, those weigh on you for a long time that you wounded it, and wasn't able to
Yeah,
recover it. And, we've all had a few of those. If you've hunted more than one day, you've probably got one that you've hit and not recovered, and it's you just kind of kick yourself, especially when you come across it the next time you're out and it was 30 feet from where you stopped looking. Because it was night
that's
and you're going along, no blood. You haven't seen any blood for a long time, and you're going along, and then next you come back next week and it's like, what's that smell? And you'll look, yeah, that's the deer you shot.
that's right. Yes. Yep.
Because they can definitely hide on you pretty easy. Especially that's why I actually prefer morning hunts over evening hunts. Um, but the hunting partner I was going with all the time, he did the evening hunts, and just for that, because you're losing the light. I'd rather be gaining the light. But early season, you got to deal with the heat.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, you don't have much time to get out there and recover it. If you don't get it within a couple hours, it can you know start going bad on you. Especially
That's right.
especially up here. Well, you're in Kansas, I'm in Nebraska, so early season. Ours starts in September. I don't remember, yours starts October when yours starts.
Yeah, the last couple of years it started the middle of September.
Oh yeah, that's where I used to be, the 15th of September. Then they changed to the 1st of September. It's still hot in September.
Yes, and you got to find them right away, or the heat destroys them.
Yeah. At least at night it is cooling off, but you still can't let them sit all night, because it might get down to 60 if you're lucky,
Yeah,
and that's not cold enough. Now, when they get in the regular, November time frame, yeah, we're getting cool enough that it would be okay the next day, but you hate to leave it all the guts inside. That's where it
yes,
starts.
yep,
That's where it gets all that gamey taste to it. If you leave those in too long, the key is just get
that's
it clean
right.
as quick as you can. You get it
Uh-huh.
field dressed and clean and cool down, and get the cape off. And first Nugent used to say, take his jammies off.
That's right.
He's definitely got definitely a hunting attitude, and a lot of good songs about hunting.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, we remember old Ted Nugent.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, we grew up listening to his stuff. I actually got a chance to meet him a couple times. They had an outdoor event at the auditorium here, a whole bunch of outdoor stuff, and he come down a couple of years, and I got to meet him and talk to him a couple times, and interesting guy.
Well, yes.
So, what's been your um, most memorable hunt that you've been on?
Um, really, it was my last year that I ever went elk hunting. Um, I was packing a longbow with wood arrows. Um, now I kind of wish I'd had stone points, but I didn't. I had steel point, and I come up just a little incline, and there was a big, uh, I called an evergreen, but one of the pine trees there. And as I stepped up I spotted the cows, elk, and there was 20 of them. And at that particular moment, I had three under 20 yards on me. I had a
Oh,
cow and a calf feeding towards me, straight towards the tree. But the one cow that I thought about shooting, I was going to have to twist, and I didn't want to move. So I was looking at the one behind her, and she fed in a little bit. She finally turned broadside. And when she did, I took a 12-yard shot and heart shot her. And the cow and calf that was coming to me was just on the other side of the tree from me. I mean, they
oh,
were probably within less than 10 feet. And the whole woods exploded. But I killed a cow elk with a longbow with wood arrows at 12 yards.
That's close.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
it was.
that's close. Yeah, and they got a fairly decent size kill zone, so you've got a little bit of leeway, but 12 yards,
Yes,
yeah,
yep,
that
exactly.
would be that'd be a lot of fun.
Uh-huh.
So you've been on many elk hunts, or was that your first one, or
No, I had hunted elk for no, 18 years, 20 years. It took
oh,
like 5 years before I ever got my first one. But then after that, then they seemed to come easier. I ended up killing 2 bulls and 3 cows in the years that I elk hunted.
that's quite a bit. That's elk meat.
Oh
I
yeah.
elk meat I think is pretty good. I haven't had any. I've had moose, which is really
Oh,
good. But I went up in Canada moose hunting and
okay.
got a moose, got a cow moose, and
Yep. I
it
would
was good.
love to, and then also um, grizzly hunt that be on the ground. I would like to stalk them.
Oh, yeah,
That
that it depends on where you're at. The guy may still carry a big gun.
oh yes, yes sir. But that's two of the hunts I would like to go on. Yeah.
That would be quite a challenge to get close enough to a grizzly and not have them know you're there and take them with a longbow or even a
Yes.
recurve. Yeah, that would be definitely interesting. If you
Yes,
get
it
on one
was.
of those calls, you have to get back on here and tell us about it. Yeah, I'd like to hear that story when you get up there and get that grizzly and all the challenge it was, and yeah, that would be
That's right.
that'd be fun. I always like hearing all the hunting stories, and yeah, even that don't have to be hunting stories. Just some of your target. Do you do much target shooting or more just?
Oh, yes. I travel to a lot of big target shoots. Um, I'm very competitive. Um, I Matter of fact, I just got back Monday from going to Texas. I went down there and shot the Texas Ringer. It's an indoor shoot, and I ended up taking second. I got beat by 1 point.
Oh,
Um, Me and the other guy shot off. Um, I shot uh, 3 times now, 4 times. I've shot target nationals. That's 55 yards, 50 meters. 2 years ago, I won the Masters division, and I've taken second in the U.S. Open twice or 3 times. Um, this year, I got in on the shoot off. I was took fourth in the U.S. Open, but I was shooting in the seniors group. That is the young kids. Um, Now, if I had stayed in Masters, the score I put up, I would have won nationals and Masters, but I'd switch classes. So yes, I go to Lancaster, I go to Vegas, I go to Mount Rushmore in Yankton, Iowa Pro Am, you name it. I try to go to it.
now for the listeners that not sure what the different classes are between seniors and masters, well, what is the age break between the two?
Uh, okay, Masters is supposed to be 50 or above. Once you're in at 50, you can go into the Masters. The seniors is from 18 to 50. Um, if they're younger than 50, they can't go into the Masters, but a Masters can drop down. And that's what I did this year for Target Nationals.
A little more challenging, huh?
Yes, yes, it is.
it's sometimes, if you're in there and you're always winning the division, sometimes it's nice to be able to just go to a different division and challenge yourself a little bit more.
Yes, sir. Yep.
And it's kind of always nice to drop down.
Uh-huh. Yeah, see, when I shoot the Iowa Pro-Am, there is only a couple guys in what they call seniors and master seniors and all that. Um, but I have always shot in what they call the adult group. That's 18 to I think 50, because there's more of them, and then that way I have a challenge. Uh, I don't want to go there to and win it because I was the only one in the group.
Yeah.
I want the challenge of beating them. So
Yeah, I know sometimes you could get first place at something and I remember when I was competing in roller skating, I went there and in the division I was in, there was one guy, me, and one girl, the same division. So we combined them. I was like, I'd rather skate and get second than have nobody to compete against and get first. I
that's
still would
right.
anyway,
Yeah,
but still, it's one of those things that, what's the advantage if you at least beat somebody to get to get the place? If
that's
you're the
right.
only one, you're last place. You're in last place.
Uh,
You're also in first place, but you're in last place because there's only
that's
one.
right.
Yeah, yeah. Think of it that way. I'd rather come in second than last.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So, so do you do a lot of 3D shoots as well then, or just the indoor or the targets, or?
I shoot 3D. I kind of travel the big ASA shoots. I shoot Louisiana, Kentucky, Illinois. Um, I've been to Alabama a few times, but that's towards the end, and I normally don't go to them. I shoot like three of the big ASA shoots. I try to shoot as many local uh, 3D tournaments here, but with a lot of the big shoots going on, I don't get to shoot the locals as much because the bigger shoots are going on.
Yeah, you can't go to the little ones if you want to really improve, and when you got the bigger ones, it's probably a whole different experience going to the big shoots it is to going to just the little local shoots.
Yes, and also the local shoots is I am about the only one that shoots barebow in Kansas. There is a couple others that do make a few shoots. So I have to shoot against traditional guys, and the equipment I am using versus the traditional, that's like a Cadillac versus a Volkswagen. And so if if anybody gets within 50 points of me at the locals, they think they've had a good day. So it's not challenging. But when I go to the ASAs, I'm shooting against guys that are shooting the same equipment I am and younger, and they kind of show me how it's done at times.
Yeah, yeah, the kids that some of them are really good at such a really young age, and of course,
Yeah,
as we get older, we have other things that's a little bit harder for us to do, and um, a little harder to hold steady and harder to see the targets. Yeah,
yes, sir. That's a big one there.
yeah. I I I I don't take the long shots anymore because one right now my pins are so blurry I can't see them. I got to get different glasses, but at the distance I can't see them anyway. So, uh, but right now
Right. Yep.
I'm recovering from a surgery, so I can't even draw my bow back. So
Oh, no kidding.
yeah, yeah. I might have to break out my left. I'm right hand. I got a left-handed recurve, um, a takedown one that when I had my store, they sent me a left-hander and a right-handed box, and I just never sent it back. But I don't have a string for it, so I have to make a string, and I might just start shooting left-handed because it's like 25-pound bow. My other recurve is 40 or 45, and I know there's no way I'm going to be able to pull it back. I just barely lift 25 and 30 pounds right now.
Yes, sir. Well, matter of fact, I'm in the same boat, but my problem is I have rheumatoid arthritis. It's in
Yeah.
my knees and in my hand, and my string hand, my knuckles swell. My hand gets to almost not quite twice the size and very painful. So I don't know how many more years, if any, that I can still shoot right handed. So I picked up a left handed riser and I am in the process of teaching myself to shoot left handed right now. Now, the tournament I just come back from, I shot right handed. My hand doing real good. As long as my right hand works and don't screw up, then I'll shoot right handed, but I also want to get very proficient shooting left handed. So I can shoot either bow when I go to a tournament.
Yeah, that gives you an option. You can take both bows. So if all of a sudden your right hand start giving you problems, what are you going to do? You can't drop, you don't want to drop out of the tournament. You spent all that time and money getting there.
That's
So yeah, that'd be something. That's what I'm thinking about doing. I've shot compounds, left-handed compounds, and it's just a matter of it's a little different. The only thing is, with right eye dominant, that right eye picks up the pins. Um,
yeah.
and now my right eye is blurry, so and I see two sets of pins, but my mind has blocked out the dimmer set of pins. So
Okay.
when my right eye started getting foggy, that's how I shot that one deer in the artery, like you did. Is I drew back on it, and that pin, I know that pin was right where it's supposed to go. And I hit clear back. I said, what's going on? So I went down to the range, and I normally practice with my left eye closed just because I'm worrying about, I'm developing my skill to get better. So I shot with both eyes or with the left eye closed and nailed the target. Now it's a 5 spot, and I shoot in the upper right hand target. Open up both eyes, I missed the target.
Yes, sir.
I missed it. That's how far off I was at 20 yards. I missed the whole target to the left because my left eye was now picking up the pins. And so I closed my eye back on, open it up, and then I figured, okay, so what's going on? And then I noticed it's because I used to just blink my left eye until it forced me to focus on the right eye pins. And then I discovered one time when I had a hooded sweatshirt on, I turned my head and the hood doesn't move. Your head moves inside, blocked my left eye. So I know if I got to shoot, I got to have a hooded shirt on, a hood so I can block my left eye.
Right. Yep. Well, once
Yeah.
I went into bear bow, I started shedding my left eye. So to me, now when I draw, it automatically shut. Now shooting left-handed, I have to shut my right eye because I'm
Right.
right-eyed.
Yeah, we'll both have to do that, try and figure out how to do it. Although right now, my left eye is the clear one, so my mind's going to ignore everything out of the right eye anyway. And last times I find I'll be reading stuff or something. I got my right eye closed because I can make see better with the right eye closed and the left one because the right one's so blurry that it blurs everything. And yeah,
Okay. Yep.
the the problems of getting in your 60s, isn't it?
Yes, sir. It is.
Yeah. Well, we'll work around it. I'll get that one out, and I'll probably start with that one just to do it. But once I get to where I can have enough upper body strength where I can do that, I'm going to rehab so that we got on a little bike where we're using the arms and then going both ways, and I'm doing about 2.5 minutes each way, and yeah, it makes them sore.
Oh, yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah. it makes them sore, and there's not much pressure, so it's just pretty easy. There's not a lot of force in there, and going through all that is tough. And
Yep.
but
Yeah, that was like when I've had rotor cuff surgery done on my right shoulder 7 years ago. And then a couple years later, my left rotor cuff. And then last September, I tore my bicep tendon in my left arm. And so I was down again. Um, and now, when my right arm was down, my surgeon told me the deer season was out. And I go, no, it's not. And he goes, yes, it is. Um, I come home and took my bow and put a mouth tab on it. And I killed two of my deer shooting with my mouth with my bow. Um, it, and I even took video of it, of me shooting it, and took it to him that's how I was going to kill my deer. Um,
is
then when I had my shoulder done, I borrowed a left-handed bow, used the mouth tab, and I killed one of my two deer with that. Um, Now last year I didn't borrow the bow when I had bicep tendon and left arm. I was using a right-handed bow in the wrong hand with a mouth tab, and I wounded a 130 class buck. I hit him in the shoulder blade, and I come home, told the wife, I says, that ain't cutting it. So I dug my crossbow out and finished my deer season with a crossbow last year. Um, so yeah, um, I've been told I'm a diehard, but God, I love shooting, and I'm going to shoot any way I can shoot. So
well, and it's kind of like you pulled out the crossbow because that's a valid weapon. And I say this on a lot of podcasts. My definition of archery is a stick with a string flinging another stick. And
that's
crossbow
right.
does that. It fits that category. So I even posted that one time just to see. Prove me wrong. I said that and prove me wrong. Nobody commented because you can't. That's
That's
archery.
right.
It's just some sticks are a lot more fancy, and some strings are a lot more fancy. But
That's
the,
right. Yeah.
the stick might be made out of more than wood, but except traditional guys, it's the only ones that use wood.
Right. Yep.
I had one guy used to come in my store. He has a crossbow and they had wooden arrows for it, but it was, not the hunting weight bows. It was a fairly lightweight bow, and he used wooden arrows for that, but actually wooden bolts. They're not arrows for crossbows, but technical.
That's right.
So, what do you have planned for some of your hunts coming up this season? Do you have anything planned?
Just deer season. I've already got my stands up, and I got some feeders out, um, and my cameras. I've got one real nice buck on there. He's about a 30 class buck. I only have him on at one time, but um, I am a meat hunter. I buy my buck tag and a doe tag, and but I will put doe in the freezer. If I shoot the buck first, then he'll go in the freezer. But if it's second, I have people that can't hunt and love deer, and I will give them the deer. So it just local. As soon as I kill my deer, then I will start practicing for all my indoor shoots. Um, my first one will come up, other than one I just did, but the first one will be the cup, second weekend of December. And then at the end of December is Iowa Pro Am. First January is Yankton, and then Lancaster. So I got to make sure I'm good for them because I'm going against all these young bucks that are real good shooters. I mean, real good shooters. they make me work for it. So
Yeah. Hey, you're going to compete in the senior division again.
yep,
Yeah, that's kind of nice. I know sometimes in the senior divisions is it can be a lot of fun, a lot of
that's
challenge,
right.
really
Yeah,
challenging. But I know when I
and
was
that's
speed
what
skating for many years, I had skate senior division because I wasn't old enough. Then about the time I got old enough to go into the next level up, I wasn't competing anymore
that's right. Yeah,
because I was always, probably good, almost 10 years older than the seniors, and yeah, that's tough to keep up with. They're
yes,
they're young. They got all the stamina. They got their, and Archie, they got the skills, and yeah, it's kind of tough to
that's
keep up with
right.
some of
Yeah,
those kids sometimes. But it's always fun when you're twice their age or three times their age that they can't keep up with you. That's
uh-huh.
fun. Like, what are you struggling for, kid? I'm three times your age. What's your problem? Or I'm double your
Uh-huh.
age. Can't keep up. Yeah, those always kind of fun times when you can do that.
Oh yeah.
So you're just going to hunt deer most of this year in Kansas, then, or are you going elsewhere? Or
No, just here in Kansas.
just Kansas?
Yeah. It's the wife and I now, all the kids have moved out, so we don't need a lot of deer meat. We still have deer and I hog hunt. Went to Oklahoma and got a hog last year. Um, so yeah, so I'm just gonna be local and shoot one deer. I'm hoping two, but at least one deer this year.
Yeah, and that'll last, two people, that lasts quite a while, and unless you get a little bitty one. But I know when I
Yeah,
first got a first year, it lasted us a whole year, and that was with the kids and my wife and I. And then after we learned how to fix it, and then, now then one deer wouldn't last the whole year. And in fact, when I had my moose, the freezer was full, and I had deer in there, and I got another deer, and there was no room in the freezer. So I'm starting to make jerky out of it, and yeah, about a week that whole deer was gone.
oh yes, yes
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, we use a beef brisket marinade that we'd marinate them in. So that, the traditional jerky mixes. This is a beef brisket. It was Claude's sauce. It was out of, I think, El Paso, Texas is where it come from. And we'd soak that in that and put it in dehydrator and make jerky. And about the time it's ready, they're eating it. And I'm making another batch, and they're eating it. And
Yes sir.
yeah, it went quick.
Oh yes, I bet.
Yeah, the best deer I ever had was shot a deer, kill it, come home, field dressed it, pull the back straps out, threw them on the grill, and then I'm out there I got the knife and the fork with me, and I have the back straps always taper down, so they always would cook more on the ends. So okay, those ends are done. Fork, cut, eat, cut the four corners off, and cooked a little bit more. Cut the four corners off. I had him right off the grill. I'd put the fork in it, cut it, and eat it right off the grill. And it had
Yep,
it was moving that deer not too long earlier. I just
that's
it's yeah, you come home and it's okay, you cleaned up, pull them out and throw them on a grill. That's kind
yes.
of your
Yep.
trophy for getting the deer.
Uh-huh.
Eat them tenders right away.
That's right.
So how do you normally fix your deer? You,
I leave that up to the wife. She is
oh,
a very, very good cook. Everything we eat, um, let's put it this way, very little comes out of a box or a can. She does, she makes everything. She makes her own bread or biscuits, rolls. Um, have real mashed potatoes. She peels them and gets them going. And I should weigh 400 pounds the way she cooks, but I guess I got a high metabolism. And so, you know, I can keep my weight down, but yeah, she makes everything from scratch. It's just, um, I'm glad I married her. Matter of fact, uh, today we have been married 44 years. So
Oh, well,
I'll
congratulations.
put her, let us meet. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that I think is a key to, you know, all the weight gain is because, a lot of the processed stuff, like the beef, they got growth hormones and, I guess why kids are getting bigger. And then, when I was a kid, we never heard of kids getting cancer. And now
Right.
you're hearing it, you hear it all the time. You got kids getting cancer and everything else. And, what's the difference between now and 20 years ago, or 30 years ago? We grew up in the 50s and 60s, and you never heard of anybody, kid getting cancer, even not really many adults would. And
That's
then,
right.
and they weren't overweight. There's very few people that were, overweight and fat. And now, there, I think there's a huge number of people that are way overweight, and I think it's got to do more with all the processed foods, and instead of just like your wife, you're lucky that fix everything gets fixed from scratch, and I think it
Yeah.
tastes much better. You know,
Yeah.
there's
I agree.
nothing better than when I was a kid, we'd get the milk from the farm, and we'd scoop off the cream off the top, and we'd
Yes.
make butter out of it. We'd make
Yes.
bread and make, and not buy loaves. You fresh bake, you let it rise, and you cut it, and you cut it off while it's still hot, and put that butter on there and eat it. And it's like, yeah, a loaf of bread don't last long that way. When it's hot out of
No,
the oven, oh man,
that's
yeah.
right. Yep.
And even this day, yes, I'll put butter on stuff, but I won't put any margarine. I'll go without before I use margarine or anything. Oh, what is margarine? It's one step off of plastic.
That's right. And I agree with you. Of course, we were born about in this, the same era, just a year
Yeah,
apart. So, yeah, we think a lot alike.
yeah. Yeah, when you said you were 68, it's like, oh yeah, yeah, I'm only a year older than you. I was 50, March of 55, and you were
Yeah.
in some
I'm
month at
June of
56.
6. So,
Oh, okay.
yep.
So just just a little bit off. Not quite a year, but
Yep.
3 months difference. So yeah, your birthday's gonna not too far away, but I'll be 70 in March, and then you'll be 69. So
Yep.
yeah, yeah, that's um, I think that was kind of a um, more fun time than what it is now. We don't have all this other crap going on, and you could feel safe to walk around. And when I was until I was in the middle of the fifth grade, I went to school. The school was a mile away, and
Yeah.
here I'm in kindergarten, and I'm walking to school and walking home. It was a mile away. I'm like, oh, no big deal. It's like, yeah, you didn't have to
Yeah.
worry about it.
That's right. Yes.
Although I live
Yeah.
in a
We
village, so we're fairly safe here. We can leave our doors open and nothing really bothers us here. But little small village, so there's not really any reason to drive here or through here
Uh-huh.
because we're a mile off the main highway, and there's only three roads. The one main blacktop one coming in, and then the other two ways out is on gravel roads.
That's right. Well, I always lived in the country growing up. So, matter of fact, from the main road. we had a lane that was almost a half mile down to the house, and so we'd have to walk that every morning to meet the school bus to go
Yeah.
to school. So, and we would leave in the mornings after first light and get back home just right before dark, you know. So
Yeah. Keeps you in shape, all that walking.
that's right.
Then we get older and walking starts to be a challenge sometimes.
That's right. Now we have to walk to keep things moving, oiled.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sit for a while and it's hard getting up, and then it's like it start moving, and I've kind of always been that way. If I sit too long, I get stiff. Even when
Yeah,
I was speed skating, and if I'd sit very long and like we're traveling to an event or something, and I get out of the car, I look like an old man getting out of the car. Just sit there, got so stiff, and you sit and like your legs will start hurting because from not moving. And
that's
you see that a lot of athletes use their legs a lot. If they get laid up, they start having cramps in the legs because they're used to being moved. And
yeah,
you know, it's hard to sit.
that's right.
And unfortunately, but right now, fortunately, I have a job I can sit down at it. Because if I couldn't sit down, I wouldn't be able to do it very good.
That's right. Yep.
So, let's see some other questions. Um, what advice would you give somebody that's wanting to pick up one of the trad bows of some kind, and how would you recommend them getting started?
Um, I mean, if they're wanting to do it, uh, I tell you what, the way traditional people are nowadays, if you're at a local shoot, whatever, um, and you ask one of them if they can shoot their bow. Uh, I don't know of anybody that would not allow them to shoot their bow. I mean, I would, uh, and let them see what it's like, and go from there. And if it is something they like and want to do, um, there are so many options out there. Um, you just talk to the traditional people and they can lead them in the right direction. One of the real big things to me is do not get overbowed. Start lighter and work your way up. Um, when I started traditional, my recurve was 86 pounds. I'd been shooting an 80-pound compound. Um, I took the bow back to the guy that built it, and he sanded it down. The first year of competition, local and hunting, I was shooting a 76-pound recurve. Now, if I get over 38 or 40 pounds, I'm thinking, oh my God, I pull this thing. So, but you start bad habits if you're overbowed. So always
Yeah.
start lighter. And the ways a lot of these bows are made now, you can get them where you can buy different limbs and put on them if it's got the ILF on it. It don't have to be a metal riser. It can still be a wood bow. There's a lot of them being made out there where you can put different limbs on, and as you get better or stronger, then you can go up in weight. So, but yeah, too many people started overbowed, and it makes bad habits real quick.
Yeah, it does, because you can't draw back to your anchor point. I've seen archers shooting them, and they draw back, and they're about an inch and a half, 2 inches away from their mouth because they can't pull it any further. And
That yeah,
you don't have a consistent release, and yeah, I just say same thing. traditional or compounds, either way. If you can't slowly pull that bow back, it's too much weight for you. If you
That's
can't come
right.
back to your anchor point and hold for, 3 seconds, it's too much weight for you. Um,
That's right.
teach that, with a compound and a release, you pull back, and once you start your shooting process, about 3 seconds. If it hasn't gone off in 3 seconds, you might need to let down and start over because something ain't right. And if you can't pull that bow back and let it sit there, if you're getting back and it's gone up before you even get to your anchor point. Now I go back, hit my anchor point, and I don't really stay. I hit the anchor point and then I follow on through. I just a little hesitation. I don't want to sit there and
Right.
hold it all day long because I've already found my spot. Now then, it's too easy for me to just wander around and start thinking about something else while I'm up there.
That's
Because I
right.
don't have any
Yeah.
pins. Because when I shoot um, my recurve, I focus on where I want the arrow to go. I think of nothing else. And I got back, and I use the same grip on it as I do with my compounds. Well, which I don't grip, but I mean, I still go
Right.
through, my hand and at an angle, which puts my arm out of the way. So I don't use arm guards because I don't grip it like a bat.
Right. Yep. I don't either. I should open handed, but I still have to wear an arm guard because I will lightly hit my arm. And after about 20 shots, that gets very tender.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why on traditional bows you serve from the center up 3 and down 6 because that's what rubbing on your arm guard. And if you don't do that, then you wear the string. And the compounds you only need, maybe half inch or so above and below where you knock the arrow. Tie your loop on because you're not hitting anything. Uh, Lighter
Yeah.
string, faster bow. But you know, let's not talk about how fast bows. Everybody wants fast bows, and they make them harder and harder to shoot. A short,
Yep.
fast bow is
Oh,
the most difficult bow to shoot.
yes. Now, see, when I shot compound, I found out that if I got over 265 feet per second, my accuracy opened up. My pattern opened up. If I
Yep.
stayed under 260, I could put them in there all day long. But so yeah, it to me it's not the speed, but these bows nowadays are 300 feet per second or better, and I'm thinking, wow, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Well, and I found with um, I shoot muzzies. It's the only broadhead I've ever shot, at muzzies. That's recommended to me when I got my first bow, and I've just always had really good luck with them. And I've stuck a muzzy in a concrete block and didn't hurt the muzzy. So that
That,
it tells you it's a tough broadhead. But um, the faster you get that arrow going, the harder and harder it is for that broadhead to actually stabilize because you got the wings
yes,
up front and the fletching in the back. And I use feathers, 4-inch feathers. I've used them since the 60s. And I'm not fond of vanes. I just like the feathers. So I still shoot feathers. And, um, when you're out in the rain, you have to deal a little bit more with them, but you can put some stuff on it if you're going to be out in the rain a lot. But I just keep them quivering. If the one I have on my bow gets too waterlogged, I just take it out and change arrows to a
yeah,
dry one. If I've gone through 6 arrows, it's like, and I still haven't seen anything, it's either raining too hard or it's time to go home. And if it's
that's
raining that
right.
hard, you can't track them anyway because the blood's all washed away.
That's right. Yep. So, talking about the fast bows, I've always had a saying, the faster the bow, if you make a bad shot, it just means you miss faster than I do, you know. So,
Well, the faster bows exaggerate your errors.
yes,
Yeah. And the slower bow is a little more forgiving. And if you don't have that perfect form and you're trying to send that arrow at over 300 feet per second, you're going to have some problems controlling it. And then you put a broadhead on it, even though the mechanicals say, they start just like field tips. No, Are they close
That's right.
at hunting range? Yeah. But do they fly the
Hmm.
same? No, because your arrow is actually longer, and you do have a little bit of wings up there. Now, hopefully, you have enough fletching in the back that it doesn't affect it. But um, that's one of the things that I did with my bow I hunt with is I actually got the broadhead set up so I can shoot X's with the broadhead. Now, put
Right.
field tips on it. Oh, I'm not even close.
That's right.
But I don't care because that bow is for shooting broadheads. I don't shoot anything else out of it except, warming up to use that. And I know it's not going to hit in the same spot, and I don't care. I have another bow that is set up to shoot field tips. So
Yeah.
that I don't shoot broadheads on it. Now, I might someday try. I've got a set of mechanicals. I might try those sometime, but I'd have to practice with them. And by the time you practice with them, you shoot them once and they're destroyed. Unless
That's
you take one and glue one closed, and so you can practice with that one. Um, but with the muzzies, I just change blades out and put dull ones in and shoot it, and then ready, pull the tip off and put the sharp ones in.
that's right. Yes.
I've been shooting them for decades, so I have plenty of used blades.
I bet so.
Yeah, it's the 100 grain three blade. I started out with 145 or 125 grain four blade, and that's what I shot my first deer with. And it was not fast, not at all. It was a uh, full length arrow, aluminum arrow, which meant it was pretty heavy anyway, with 125, I think, grain tip on it, shooting at 52 pounds.
Okay.
And the deer was 40 yards away. I was 20 feet up in a tree. I'd be that high to get to the trail, get over the bush to get to the trail. And when that
Right.
deer turned around, that arrow was hanging out. I think the fletching stopped it from going all the way through.
Hmm. That's right.
It was not fast. It was heavy and sharp broadheads, and it just went through that deer. And like I said, I seen it hanging out so far that I swear the fletching stopped it from exiting the deer.
That's right. Yep.
Now I've had now the other ones they blow right through normally, but with them muzzies,
Yes.
even if you hit a bone, they shatter them and keep going.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, like I said, I stuck one in a concrete block and the insert broke in half and the shaft cracked by a little bit, but the broadhead was still sticking in the block. The rest of the shaft was sitting on the floor. I just
That.
reached out
Yep.
and pulled the broadhead out. I still have it. I have no clue which one it is because I can't tell. It didn't even mess up
Right.
the point. But that was when I had my store and I was trying to get ready for hunting season. It was late after worked all day long and I was getting tired and yeah, it's like, okay, I wrecked an arrow. Didn't wreck the broadhead, but I wrecked the arrow. Um, I just cut it down shorter, let my son use it. He was six or seven at the times in Cub Scouts. He'd go there, shoot for hours at the range.
Uh-huh. Yep.
A lot of fun now. Now none of my kids do much shooting now, but they all got bows. They all got high-end bows. Having a store,
Right.
they're going to end up with high-end bows.
Yes. Yep.
But man, that's the way it goes. I haven't shot mine in quite a while because, well, I can't do anything like that since April because that's when my first surgery was, and there for a while, after the second surgery, I couldn't even lift up one of these little, what are they, 23-ounce water bottles. That was too
Oh,
heavy for
no.
me. Yeah, and that was after the second one. The first one, it wasn't too bad, but every time I moved my elbows, my chest would keep moving, and it didn't heal up. So I'd go in and put titanium plates in and hold it back
Oh,
together, and then everything was sore. Everything was sore and
yeah.
hurt. So, eventually I'll get recovered and they'll start shooting a bow. But yeah, I think I'll go and when I get to some of these events, I might just do some more interviews for the podcast. Oh, and the one I just
Right.
recorded just recorded earlier that'll come out when this comes out. When I was at the Missouri Valley Outdoor Expo, which they have every year here in Nebraska, um,
Right.
uh, the guys that set up gaming parks, there's three guys there that are certified safety instructors for tree stands, and and this year I actually interviewed them. I spent about an hour and a half talking with them about all kinds of tree stand safety stuff, and the most kind of unnerving or the stat was he said 82% of accidents are tree stand related.
Really?
Yeah, 82% of the accidents involved in hunting are come from tree stands. And he said
Okay.
80% of those accidents are from homemade tree stands.
No kidding.
Yeah. So if you want to have up your chances of having an accident, make your own tree stand.
I'm still using some I made years ago. So, but I cables or anything on them. I'm using chain.
Yeah,
So,
those stuff a little bit better. And then
but
even though the other stat that when I get it all put together, I'll put that as a podcast. I'm gonna try and work on it this weekend, so it should come out after this podcast comes out next week. And even though this your safety harness and you should use a full body harness,
yep.
even though that saves you from hitting the ground, you don't have very long. You got to get relief because if it cuts off the circulation in your legs long enough, like 5 minutes, you're going to
Uh,
die anyway.
yes.
So, so what
Yep.
saves you from dying instantly will kill you over a short period of time. And there's, and you got to practice hanging off your trees, your harness, and see how to recover from there. Hang there, and how do you get back on, and using the lineman's rope with the Persic's knot
Right.
on there. Hook up to that, and then when you fall, because it stops you, and then he's talking, and I want to get to, we'll show you, how you can tie knots in that line, just slip knots, and
Hmm.
then tie a whole bunch of them as close as you can because they're about 6 inches apart. You put your feet on there and stand up, and you can slide your knot down, and then move,
Okay.
to the next knot. When you step on it, it's going to slip and drop you down a little bit, and then you just move your knot down. So you're moving at about 6 inches at a time. So if you're 20 feet up in a tree, it's going to take you 40 times to do it because
Yes.
you move about six
Yes.
inches at a time. But at least you're not hanging.
Yes.
And
Yep.
he said one guy had to do that one time. He's in a ladder stand, and two bucks were in fighting, knocked the ladder stand over. He couldn't use it, knocked it out from underneath him, and now he's hanging there,
Right.
and had to recover.
Yep.
So, and he says you have two of them, one that you're hang on the tree, and then one you put around your waist because that one you can stand up on and relieve the pressure off your legs. Now I know a lot of the
Okay.
new harnesses come with the little foot strap you can drop down and get your one foot in and lift up, but those trying to get your foot in it is tough. And
Yes.
the other thing is said is have your cell phone with you, but have your cargo pants on and put it in one of the side cargo pockets. Because if it's in your shirt pocket, you can't get to it. If it's in your back pocket, you can't get to it. The harness is in the way. Got to be on the side one, and then you can pull it out and call somebody.
Oh, okay.
I'd
Well,
never thought of that.
yeah, me neither. I knew there was a reason I started going to ground blinds, so I hunt out of ground blinds more than anything.
Yeah, I've hunted out of them. I'd still prefer to be up so I can see more. I can see what's going on a little better. But in those winter days when it's cold and windy, oh, the blinds are nice because you can take just a
That's
little
right.
small heater, just a small heater, and it'll keep you warm. You can take off your big heavy coat.
That's
I've done
right.
that. It's like, okay, I don't need this coat. I'm too hot. I'm dressed to be up in a tree stand in the wind. I'm out of the wind. I don't need this coat.
Yeah. Yep.
But you got to worry about shooting through your blind.
Yeah. I did that one time with the turkey. I had him so close. When I shot and missed, I thought, how did I miss? And then, I don't know, half inch down on my blind was my broadhead hole. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially, compounds are really bad at that as well, because your pins and your sights are up here at eye level, your arrow's down at your mouth level, and that's what, 3 inches. So it starts
Yeah.
off 3 inches low, and you have to look at it. I know I was doing some little demonstration videos in the basement, and I had a bag up, and I'm shooting, 10 feet away from it, and I because it's on top of a concrete block wall, and I don't want to hit that wall because the arrow's going to bounce back at us, and that knock is just about as dangerous as the point. And so I'm just like, okay, I'm, making sure my 60-yard pin is where it's going to hit the bag, you know. So I got to make sure where I'm shooting, because, at that distance, your 70-yard pin is where your arrow is going to be hitting, and it's pretty close
Yeah.
where it's at. That's something you have to think about when you're shooting out of a blind, is where is the arrow actually going to go? Because it,
That's
it
right.
starts low and it catches up to it and then start dropping back down again. Yeah, that's where the real close targets, that they'll put them at 5 feet and everybody misses them. And I've had shooters say, "Well, I'll just sight down the arrow." You ever shot that way before? Well, no, I'll just sight down the arrow. Yeah, well, that
Mm,
don't work too well. Yeah,
that's
you
right.
might get it off, but there's no logic to it. I was at a shoot one time, was up on a platform, and it was a gator, and it was like 5 feet from the platform. And I knew at my bow, I'd gone through, I had I think it was Archer's Advantage, where it would go through and calculate all this stuff. Um, I have no clue where the software is for it anymore now, but if I come across it, I might see if I can install it again. But it said on there, I had a chart at 5 feet, I used my 70-yard pin. So I'm full draw, I'm bending down, bending down, bending down. Finally, that pin got there where it's supposed to be. And of course, you're in a really awkward position. You're leaning down at, good 45-degree angle or better, depending on the rail to not fall over. And I shot
Right.
and nailed it right where it's supposed to go. And and then, of course, the challenge was standing back up again because I was leaning over so far.
That's right.
Right, finally. They don't look like anybody had any comments.
Okay.
I had to look over and check. It still says just one comment, and that's, I guess, my comment. I don't know. I'll have to
Uh-huh.
look at it later. But yeah, at least now I got something on my profile, and I'll put a little comment in there and say, direct them over here to the uh, Facebook group and whatnot. And but yeah, it's been really great talking with you. And anybody that's been watching or listening this long, you know, I did go live on my timeline, so you can go out and look at my timeline and catch it there. But it'll be posted in the Arch Talk 101 Facebook group. It'll be posted in the video there. The video, as well as on Learn to Fix It Yourself, is the name of my YouTube channel. And then also you can listen to the audio part of it on Spotify and other places they do podcasts. I know Apple's got some, and I don't remember who else got them, but I sent Spotify and it sends them all out. And then also, you can listen to it on Audible. Normally Audible,
Okay.
you buy the audio books, you know, but the
Mhm.
podcast is free. You just go up there and sign up for it, and I have a lot of people listen to it that way, because then as I post one, it just automatically adds it to the list and just play it, and it's kind of cool that way. I don't listen to them because I recorded them. I don't listen to them. I just put
That
them on my computer here.
that's right. Yep.
But it's been a whole lot of fun talking with you, and I know you're gonna keep shooting as long as you can, and I'm gonna try and get back into shooting and keep shooting as long as I can, and um,
Okay.
get out there. And it might get to the point where I'm not shooting, but I'm going to some of the events. As things loosen up here where I can actually walk enough to walk around the course. And right now, I wouldn't make it around the course just carrying the bow. I might make it 5 or 10 targets, and that'd be about it.
Right. Yeah.
So I could get that part going first. And yeah, I went to at work. They had soccer tickets that we get for free. Go watch the University of Nebraska Omaha soccer team play. And I had rehab, so I did the bike and the arms and the treadmill, and kind of tired, and you get home, and then where we parked, and it says, well, you go up these steps, and then we went down a ramp, and then come to find out we got to park the other end of the parking garage and walk straight out. Been there, so we walked in that way. And like, we didn't, we'd never been there. I never been there. I graduated from University of Nebraska Omaha, but they didn't have a soccer field there, and they didn't have a parking garage there, and they didn't have a whole bunch of stuff
Right.
because that was oh, well, 86, so that's almost 40 years ago when I was there. So things have
Right.
changed a little, and then the tickets are on row U. First one down is A. It was clear up there, so I got to the steps, and there wasn't many people there. Um, I think there's 4 sections. Everybody could have sat in one section and still had chairs left. So yeah, there was plenty of chairs open, and it's like my wife's up, dozen steps, and I'll look up and it's like, I ain't making it up there. I'm already worn out because I'm already had my extent of my workout doing that. So I went up about 3 or 4 steps, and I was like, that's right. I sat down, and it's like I couldn't see all the field because where the players play, there's a like a little glass thing that goes over them, kind of curve thing. So then I sat
Okay.
there for a while, and I got up 3 or 4 more rows, and then so I could actually see the all field, and and then it's like, okay, to go to the bathroom, you got to go halfway up, over, down some steps to the bathroom, back up step, back down. It's like, oh, I'm glad I
That's
didn't have to go till the second half. When the second half started, I went, and it's like, man, by the time I got done, I was moving really slow,
oh, I
and
bet. So,
really slow, and I'm still hurting from it now.
yep.
So yeah, it's gonna be a while before I can actually shoot a bow, but I'll get there. In the
Yeah.
rehab, we'll tailor the rehab here in a little bit, in a month or so, to get my archery muscles back up. Because the normal
Right.
rehab don't do them when you're doing arm, like a bicycle type arm thing. That don't do anything for your archery muscles
Okay.
because this is not pushing off to the side and pulling using your back. So we got some I think we can use, go through the same motion. I used to, when I go to the gym all the time, one of the things you could pull on, they kind of hang on the wall, and I would stand there and I'd use it to pull, like I'm drawing a bow, and,
Right.
and then the other, I turn around and push away, like I'm pushing the bow out to work those muscles. And um, yeah, it'll be there. I'll do another podcast kind of talk. I talked about the first thing going on, and then I need to do another video the second thing, and then another video I'll do of me, how I'm getting my archery back going, and skating going back. And I went skating for the first time last night, and oh man, it was the first few laps was just painful. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I bet
everything
so.
hurt. And then I took a break, and I ended up getting about 20 minutes of skating in, but it took me 4 times to do it. I had to rest 3 times, for
Yeah.
5, 10, 15 minutes in between. And, you get going out there, and my heart rate's higher than normally. I have to be going really fast to get it up that high. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit before I can get back, but at least I can talk about archers about all the stuff they're doing.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fun. I enjoy talking to archers, and all over the world, and I have talked to archers all over the world. Uh, the group, the Archer Talk 101 Facebook group has got archers from countries that you have to Google to figure out where it's at.
That's right. Yes.
Let's say they're in this city in this state, and it's like, where's that at? It's some little bitty state outside of Italy, or out in Croatia or Serbia. Um, I don't think I've talked to anybody actually in Russia or China yet, but um, Germany and all over the world. Like I can't remember all the countries. I should have took a pen and marked, wrote them down, but I didn't. I just, I've talked to a couple in Africa and of course United States, a lot of them in the United States and Canada, and nobody in Mexico
Right.
yet that I can remember of that actually was in Mexico. But well, it's
Okay.
fun. And like you like was talk about, if you have if you have a bow in your hand and you're an archer, you go up and talk to them.
That's
Now,
right.
if they don't speak your language, um, you know what? Google Translate works really well.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You,
Yep.
you can not some of them you can do you can voice, but the Google Translate on a computer, I can type it in because I've done that too, send a message to somebody and they'll respond back, you know, in another language sometimes, and then I'll just stick it in there and it'll figure out what it is. And like, oh, okay, respond back. I had one guy was responding back to him, both in English and in whatever his language was. I don't remember now what it is, but that's so there's with the phones nowadays, a lot of them you can talk in it and it'll text it. You talk and it texts and translates it and to the other person, and all kinds of stuff now. And with the AI that's out now, it's there's no reason why we couldn't talk in different languages. Now, it may not translate exactly right, but talk to somebody in the South and talk to somebody in the East Coast, the West Coast, and up north, and sometimes we can't understand each other.
That's right. Exactly.
It's like, what are you saying?
That's right. Yep.
I I had um when I was at Cabela's, yeah, I was at Cabela's. We had a guy come in that was from overseas. He's from England. Another guy was from Ireland or Scotland. I think maybe Scotland. And I'm talking to him, and the one I had the most trouble understanding was a guy from England.
Right.
I had trouble understanding what he's saying. I had to really pay attention to what he's saying and translate almost. The other guys, I didn't have any problem. I just talked to him, and the guy from England, his accent and the way he said stuff was just so much different. And I hadn't really heard that dialect that much to figure it out. You know,
Right.
like doing martial arts for 20 years, you kind of understand how the Koreans talk, and it's like, okay, you understand them, and somebody else like, what do you say? What do you say? Oh, well, he said this. Because you've been hearing it for 20 years, so you knew,
That,
you
yep.
knew what he said and what he was meaning by it, and
Yep.
that's nice. If you're an archer and you have a bow in your hand and another archer a bow in their hand, you know what? Go up and say hi to them because
That's
probably
right.
99% of the time they're going to talk to you unless they're in the middle of something. Then if they're on the firing line getting ready to draw their bow back, that's not the time to talk to them.
That's right. Exactly.
But when they're off the line, hey, they'll be glad to tell and help you out. A lot of them too. They'll help you out. I was talking to one guy, and it's just the guy he was competing against was actually helping him through a problem he was having.
Yes. Yep.
The only advantage the guy had was made you better, which forced him to be better. Like you're saying, you like to shoot the senior division because the masters is a little too hard. And let's have a little competition and make it a little challenge, and it makes you get better.
That's right. Yep.
Well, I think it's time to head in. It's almost 9 o'clock here, and you're in the same time zone I am, so yeah, it's getting close for me to go to bed.
That's right. We're getting at the age the 9 o'clock is almost
Yeah.
bedtime.
Well, when I get up about, well, the alarm goes off at 5, but normally I'm up 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'm awake anyway. So if I go too late, I don't get much sleep. Then it makes it hard for the day. And I'm working again now, so I can't just be up for a couple hours and then take a nap. like
Right.
like I was
Yeah.
doing, but it's it's one of those things that, well, I went back to work just over a year ago, a year and a few days ago, and then of course since April I've been mostly off until the last couple of weeks. I'm finally back. I'm still not full time yet because going to rehab 3 times a day, and I work in Omaha, and it's about 40-45 minute drive on a good day to the rehab, which is actually further west than I am, but I'm only about 10
Okay.
miles from it. So I leave an hour before I need to be there, just because you never
Yeah.
know. You get traffic, and um, yeah, I'm about four. Well, the GPS says it's 40 minutes to work from where I live, and it's probably another
Okay.
10 minutes the other one. So it's a 50-minute drive, according
Yeah.
to GPS to where I'm going 50-55 minutes. So, I leave at 2:30 so I can be there for a 3:40 appointment. Normally I'm there a little early. Like, that's okay. But
That's right.
yeah, that's one of those things that, so, and then I have another doctor's appointment Thursday afternoon. So I can work pretty much a full day there. And then normally on Thursdays is the day now that I've got set up. But I forgot to change my time, and I actually recorded a video earlier today, another Zoom call before this one. And
Okay.
so sometimes I get two in a row, and sometimes I don't, and I just get them out.
That's right.
I'd been doing two a week until the surgery, and then I wasn't getting any out because yeah, I couldn't record. I couldn't sit long enough to record anything. And just
Okay.
after the second surgery, like the next day after I got home, I had one had gotten scheduled in there, and so I recorded it, and then I just discovered here couple weeks ago that I hadn't even posted it.
No, no
So
kidding.
I probably four podcasts earlier, I recorded it like 2 months before. Yeah,
Okay.
it's one of the things when you're more focused on trying to heal than getting podcasts out. Now I'm getting enough now where I'm back up to two a week. Mondays and Fridays is when I post a new video.
Oh,
It comes out on Spotify at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I post it on the YouTube channel the next day at 6 at night, and then I also have on um, my YouTube channel an RSS feed from Spotify, which it comes out as RSS feed when it releases, at 6 in the morning. But I've got a regular video that comes out, with all the YouTube, ending screens, and little boxes come up. But the other one's just a raw feed where there's no things on it. It's just a raw feed. So they'll get out there, and then I'll have the interview with the gaming parks here. I'm going to work on that this weekend, so that should be coming out here in
no.
a little bit, and then
Yep.
that'll be some good information. I got a lot of good information in that video. I recorded like an hour and a half long. I interviewed them, and the three guys there's all kinds of stuff, and they're showing stuff, and yeah, I got an hour and a half long video, and it'll probably take me 2 to 3 hours to edit the video.
Right. Yep.
Because you have to listen to the video and then decide you want to keep it, and then you got to filter stuff out, and cut stuff, and do some transitions. And so yeah, it's at least as long plus half again as long to edit them, but then you get a little cleaner video. But a lot of good information, and I'll be getting out, so I'm kind of promoting
Right.
that that podcast coming up, and it should be the one right after this one. um because I've got this weekend to work on it, and I don't have any podcast scheduled before I need to get that one out. So that's my goal, is get that one done, and going in there, and a lot of good information that a lot of hunters don't realize, and a lot of stuff I didn't realize. And I've been around a lot of stuff on safety, and going into harness safety, and businesses when they have somebody that's on a harness, they have to have a plan to get them off. because they know
Right.
that you can't stay there. So they're not just as a fall arrest, but they also have another plan on how to rescue them, and that's a whole
Okay.
big thing. Which as bow hunters, we don't have that plan. We don't know what to do to rescue ourselves because lots of times there's nobody within shouting distance. We're normally in a tree stand by ourselves,
That's
and you
right.
might have you might
Yep.
have a hunting partner somewhere that's out there, but they're not going to come until it's time to close. And if you were going to meet them, they're going to have to wait for, oh, they're not coming, and come find you. So we didn't know
Yes.
how to
Yep.
we know how to rescue ourselves, and that's going to be something that I think, once I get where I can actually put a harness on. I
That's
don't dare
right.
put a harness on right now. If I cough or sneeze, I have to kind of support my chest because that
That's right.
that makes that makes it hurt. So I'm not putting a harness on and hanging on it because that is not going to feel good. So I'm not getting anything elevated more than a couple of steps on.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's been great talking with you. We gotta get out of here so we can get ready for bed and do what we got to do the evening. And so it's been real nice talking to you. And I'm sure we'll talk again later. And if you know of any events coming up, go ahead and post a link to that event in the Arch Talk 101 Facebook group. There, let's promote the archery in there. We don't allow anybody to sell anything in there.
Right.
So it's not a site you can sell your bows and your equipment and your t-shirts and all that other stuff. I don't
Right.
allow that in any of my groups because it's not there to be sold to, and so you either get the post
Yeah.
removed or moved and banned.
You bet.
Yeah,
Okay.
you've seen all these archery t-shirts. If you join, so it joins the group, first thing you just post one of those t-shirts, you're getting removed and
Yeah.
banned from the group. And generally it's because you've been on Facebook less than a year. And I
That's
wouldn't even let
right.
in. Yeah. The ones I like is the ones like, okay, here's my email address, John Doe at something. No, delete, ban you. And
Yeah.
don't, John Doe or John Smith. Anytime I see that email, I know it's a fake email because especially when you get two people join with the same email address. Yeah,
Yeah.
decline, decline. I don't even want
That's
to
right.
mess with them because they're always accounts less than 6 months old. So
Uh-huh.
anyway, my name is Roy Canterbury. I've been the host today on Arch Truck 101 with Spanky, and we have a lot of good information that we got out. Make sure you listen um, to the other podcasts, especially make sure you listen for that tree stand safety one. All of us archers that get up in a tree stand, we need to pay attention to that because um, the safety harness can save your life, but it can also kill you. So make sure you listen to that, and we'll get some good information from the guys that are certified to teach us all that. So
Mm.
thanks for being on, and we'll see you later.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, bye.